All right, y'all would rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Join me in a moment of silent prayer. Thank you. All right, we will call this meeting to order. Are there any visitors' remarks concerning the agenda?
Yes. Walt Woods, will you be describing the executive session to the full detail that you're required to by law?
We are going to be as is spelled out in the law and according to the agenda. It's for legal issues, legal consultation.
Are you going to go to the...
We'll do that at the appropriate time. I think we haven't announced it, so we'll do it then.
Okay. Thank you. That's all.
All right. Unfinished business. Consider approving the minutes of January 9th, 2025.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. New business. Consider approving the total certified county match funds for the farmland preservation of 2025 program year for $4,506.53 and authorize the chairman to sign.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. Consider approving an agreement between Bradford, Sullivan Drug and Alcohol, Single County Authority, and Endless Mountains Extended Care, effective July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. Consider approving an amendment to the agreements between Bradford, Sullivan Drug and Alcohol, Single County Authority, and the following providers per the agenda, effective July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Consider approving an agreement between Bradford Sullivan Intellectual Disabilities Autism and the Advocacy Alliance for IM fourth quarter, effective July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consider approving an amendment to the agreement between Bradford County Children and Youth Services and Chore Youth and Family Services, effective July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. Consider approving a purchase of service agreement between Bradford County Children and Youth and the following providers per the agenda, effective July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Consider approving an insurance proposal for environmental liability between Bradford County and Assurance Brokers Limited and authorize the chairman to sign.
So moved. Second, and I guess this is something we do, is it every year that we've done this? Is this a broker we've used in the past?
Yes.
Okay.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. Consider approving a letter of support for the Progress Authority for their funding request under the Broadband Equity Access and Deployment Program to the Pennsylvania Broadband Development Authority.
So moved.
I have a motion and second. Any further discussion?
Yeah, so I think just for the public's benefit, I believe it's been made aware to the county, the municipalities in the county, the townships, boroughs, that Central Brad Progress Authority, which is the county's economic development corporation, in seeking funding through the BEAD program, which if they are granted those funds would be used to further develop the dark fiber infrastructure that the county's been working on now for 7 years. So this letter of support would essentially, be another means of indicating that we as the county support them. And so this is obviously, I think, a really important thing because it's probably one of the best shots that the county has had, or its Progress Authority has had, to get funding through a governmental funding entity. And this would be really, really incredible. I wish there was somebody here from Central Brand to talk about it, but if you have any questions, you can follow up with T. Thompson or Matt Williams.
Probably in the state of Pennsylvania, we're the rural county that has, I don't think anybody can match us, what we've done, what we have in place, what we're ready to do at all. It's going to be interesting to see it, because we've been misled a lot over the years, so this will be very interesting to see if we get that funding.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. Consider the hires and transfers from Elizabeth Burgess down through and including Brianna Amy.
So moved.
And motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Other business. Sierra Yagi has been appointed in response to a court order by the Court of Common Pleas to the position of Magisterial District Judge Administrative Clerk 3 for the Court of Common Pleas in the Office of Magisterial District Court 42-3-04 effective January 21st, 2025. And an executive session was held on January 16th, 2025 from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. with legal counsel to discuss current litigation.
And just to augment that announcement, the discussion of current litigation pursuant to Section 708A4 of the Sunshine Act concerned the pending lawsuit by the Friends of the Bradford County Library against the Commissioners, and then additionally, the purpose was to receive advice on matters that would be privileged pursuant to Section 708A5. The attorney present was our county solicitor, Jonathan Foster Jr., who was here with us.
And recognition of the first responders who participated in the water rescue in Canton. And I just want to say that we've got quite a number of them in here today. There will be a call, I believe, from a physician that was involved in this, and I just want to say that for those who, it's pretty much well known throughout the county what happened on that day, but I will tell you the heroic efforts of the different groups of people that were involved in that just go beyond most anybody's comprehension of what took place on that day. There were 12 different entities or groups that were involved in that, and for hours trying to rescue that young man out of the pond is just goes without words to say how heroic and how, what an effort that was to save that young man's life. And I just, most of us can't even begin to understand or comprehend what that takes to do that, but I will tell you, it's unbelievable. And we're very appreciative of everything that you've done, all that you continue to do, and each and every day you're called to do the impossible, quite frankly. So we thank you.
Appreciate it so much, you guys and gals. The word hero gets thrown around a lot anymore, but you guys are true heroes. Every day, you put everything on the line for everybody, what you did for that boy. I can't stop thinking about it, to be honest with you. I just want to give you a heartfelt thank you very much for what you've done and what you continue to do.
I want to echo everything that was said by Commissioners Miller and McClinko. You put Caleb in a position to let the fight in Caleb come out. And we are so thankful for that.
You know, it's funny, my son, who lives up in Chemung, called this morning right out of Clear Blue. He didn't know you folks were gonna be here today, and he asked me how the boy was doing. And I said, hopefully we get an update today, but, you know, what happened over there caused him to have a discussion with, because he has a pond on his property, have a discussion with my grandsons, his boys, on the do's and don'ts of where they can go. So, you know, your guys' effort hopefully sparked that conversation, because I was a kid once too. And so I think that hopefully what you've done goes far beyond things that we know in every household across the area. So thank you once again.
Yep, and again, just to reiterate, you facilitated a miracle taking place, quite frankly. When you stop and think about that, like I say, most people can't comprehend, and the never give up attitude, to stay with it and stay with, you know, trying to find that young man and get him out of there and give him a chance at life. Words can't describe what took place, quite frankly.
Unbelievable.
And we're going to do the presentation after we're done with our meeting, but we're also going to receive, I believe we're going to get a call from one of the physicians that's involved with his continuing care from Geisinger. So we will move on with our unfinished business. The salary board, there's no unfinished business. We have Matt Allen, our treasurer, with us, who is a member of the salary board. New business, consider the creation of Children and Youth Caseworker 3, grade 27, 37 and a half hours a week, effective January 23rd, 2025.
Take that motion. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Consider the hires and transfers from Elizabeth Burgess down through and including Brianna Amy.
So moved. Oh, sorry. I'll second it, buddy.
Okay.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, moving on, assessment board. There's no unfinished business. New business, consider approving the following for tax exemption. John Long, that is a renewal of the veterans exemption.
So moved.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And then the second one is Linford Park, and it is a new veterans exemption.
So moved.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, we will move on to visitors' remarks, but we will again revisit. We'll be taking a call here at 11:30, so we will entertain visitors' remarks for a little bit. So,
Okay. Does he want to comment? Oh.
all right,
Is Hughes with those on the last year's one?
okay. You?
Yeah, I'll pass.
Okay.
I have a couple. Walter Woods. Have you guys advertised for a Canton? Yeah, I'm sorry. Advertised for a librarian?
Not yet, no.
Anything on the RFP for the library?
Nothing further right now, no.
Are you guys considering just sending it back out the way it is, since you did get a request
We
that you
haven't
couldn't use?
discussed in any way of sending it out or not right now.
Okay. Were you able to look up anything on the Robert rules to see specifically what gives you the permission to vote in silence?
Jonathan?
That, I guess I can follow up on that with you, but I guess in terms of we've followed all procedures that are required as far as that goes. I guess I'm not specifically aware of what you're talking about. What do you mean votes in silence?
So most of us, I think, have presumed he hasn't been voting as the chair, because that's one of the options in Robert rules. But he has been voting, but in silence, so he's been voting without saying it.
It's only when there's a tie is when I have to vote.
But do you vote? Did you vote on anything today?
And there was no tie.
So you weren't voting at all?
Sir, I guess we're getting beyond public comment. No, I'm not, no. We're not gonna get into this in terms of, it's not a back and forth here. We've complied with the Sunshine Law. We've complied with all procedures.
It's my time to
Okay,
speak, so you're not complying with the Sunshine Law.
Though, because you're not gonna sit here and make these allegations.
I absolutely am allowed to.
Wrong. You're allowed to make those, you can say.
But you're yelling at me right now for making those accusations, preventing me from speaking,
because you're making wrong statements. You're acting like legal conclusions are fact. If you have an issue, let's go over to the Court of Common Pleas and address it there. We've done nothing wrong. Yes.
So in order to speak freely, without interruption, I have to sue
interrupting
you?
our meetings with these baseless allegations. You are incorrect on the law.
It doesn't matter if you think I am incorrect on the law or not. I am permitted to speak during my time period, correct?
Correct.
Am I permitted to speak without interruption?
Well, I guess I should say, you're the one that's elected to engage with the board up here. And we are sick of you trying to derail meetings for your own purposes. If you have a question about the agenda, or you have a comment about the agenda, yes, you're permitted to do that.
That's for the beginning of the meeting, correct? Are we permitted to ask about anything and speak about anything at the end of the meeting?
Yes.
Then why are you bringing up the agenda based upon what I'm talking about now? Because you just said that it has to be agenda-based, right? While also saying that it doesn't have to be, correct?
Okay, so what's your question?
I already asked my question.
Okay, and I guess my answer is we've complied with all procedures.
Procedures or laws?
Laws and procedures, statutes, whatever you want to call it.
What law allows him to vote without saying anything? Because the minutes say that everybody voted yay on stuff constantly when he doesn't take any vote at all. And he said a couple of meetings back that he does vote, he just does it in silence. It's a presumed yes.
It's assumed that it is a unanimous vote.
So
It's part of Robert's Rules of Order.
And I am asking you, since you have stated that, what part of Robert Rules? It's like 700 pages long. I'd like to know. And I figured since I had asked it before that he may have an answer this time.
Jonathan, we'll get the book out.
Yeah, we'll get the book out and we can address it with you.
And I'd like to be able to speak without being yelled at by somebody in front of me during the time that I am permitted to speak. And that is something I am permitted, correct? To not be shouted down?
You have 2 minutes.
I have 37 seconds, correct? It's right behind you. You're interrupting me while I'm saying.
I'm not interrupting you at all.
I am permitted to speak during my 2 minutes, correct?
I don't have to respond to you.
You're right. You don't. Nobody has to respond to me. Thank you for your time.
Okay, so you created a caseworker 3 position today.
Mm-hmm.
So until now, you've had caseworker 1 and caseworker 2. Those are the 2 job levels within, I think, the Department of Human Services.
Yep.
And then, why are you creating a caseworker 3?
It's just at the recommendation of our Human Service Director.
Yeah. So what does she see as the benefit of it?
I would contact her. She could explain it better than we can.
Is it going to have a higher pay than the other 2? Wouldn't it have a higher pay than the other 2, the caseworker 2 and caseworker 1?
I believe that's the case, isn't it, Michelle? I've got a higher grade.
Okay, it's a higher grade.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how many of the current caseworkers are going to be transferred to caseworker 3?
I don't know that yet.
And I would say that I think it would be premature. You would have to create the position first as a salary board before you could decide whether you're going to move people over. So you have to create the existence of the position or the class of the position before you then move people over. So it's going to be a two-step process.
You don't have an idea as far as how many people are going to be moved over?
Right now, we don't know.
And also, for the farmland preservation program, you provided this match of $4,500 and basically, and How many farms do you expect to be put into the program this year?
And that I can't tell you. The Preservation Committee, they can tell you, but it's a long process to get farms in. And I don't know how many you would get with $4,500, to be honest with you. I don't know how much money they have right now.
Is that amount comparable to the amount that you've been paying into the program in previous years?
It's similar. It fluctuates to a certain degree, but I'm not sure the exact amounts, James.
And how many?
It comes out of clean green rollbacks is what determines it.
Yes, I mean, it's a set figure that's done through clean green rollback.
And it depends on the rollbacks and how many there are, is where those funds come from.
And how many farms have you been putting? How many farms in Bradford County have been put into the program, say on an annual basis, roughly?
It fluctuates year to year, James. I couldn't tell you right off the top of my head.
Is there somebody?
Enough revenue to do it.
Right. It
What-
takes a
what's
lot
that?
to do it.
They have to build up the revenue to be able to do it.
Right.
So that would be a question that you could sit down with somebody on the farmland preservation.
Who would be a
board.
good contact?
Michelle can get the contact
Okay.
for you.
Well, those are the questions I have.
Bill?
What is that farmland program?
It's a preservation thing that permanently puts farms into preserves them for agricultural use, basically.
Is that like a state program, county program? Who does that? I
It's
guess?
a state program,
Okay.
It's done through easements. I mean, the land's tied up forever,
right?
so,
Stays in perpetual agricultural use.
And is that something you guys do every single year? Or?
Well, it's a year after year thing, yes, but that doesn't mean farms are included in it every year, because it depends on the amount of money they have to be able to purchase the rights to be able to do that from the farm.
Gentlemen, that's all I got.
All right. It's just an announcement. Our staff at Human Services, in particular Mary Sturdivant, and her team, as well as with other agencies, yesterday into today at 3 p.m., they're currently conducting what is called a point-in-time count, a pit count. The pit count is done annually, and it is used to assess the number of individuals who have housing insecurity or are unsheltered. And the numbers from last year there were a total of, between sheltered and unsheltered, 29 unduplicated adults and 14 unduplicated children. Last year, the 14 children were deemed sheltered. This year, we don't have all the numbers in, but there are some children who are identified as unsheltered. So that is a real tragedy, and we thank the folks who are performing the pit count for bringing that information to our attention so that we can obviously report that on to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I guess I would also separately say, I mean, if there's a concern over a recordation of votes, Chairman Miller, you could, I believe in past meetings you've indicated that you deem that an approval. I guess if we need to do some type of, I think if it's, I mean, our solicitor will determine whether it's in Robert's rules. If it's not, there's nothing to prevent us, I believe, from approving a rule of practice that would indicate that it will be assumed that it is a vote in the affirmative unless you say otherwise. I mean, we could theoretically do that, correct? Mm-hmm. And obviously it's not on today's agenda to do that, but that may be some way of, to the extent of what is implicit, to the extent it's not explicit, we could always do that. Is that correct, Jonathan?
That's correct.
So that may hopefully, maybe that will resolve some of the concern.
All right. got 5 minutes yet. All right. What's that?
So it's cookies and donuts for everybody, don't leave any.
We have to adjourn them.
There you go.
All right.
We're not adjourned yet, guys, so this is still recorded in a public meeting until such time as we adjourn it.
So somebody want to make a motion to adjourn?
You said we're not adjourned.
I thought, we haven't adjourned yet, correct?
Did you want me to make, I did make.
Whichever one.
Oh, I didn't hear you.
I'll make a quick one.
Okay, I'll second that.
Okay, all right, we're adjourned.
Okay,
Thank you.